Peace, power, soul, elevated activation, and beyond the void of creation. This is the United Futurtarians radio show. Greetings from the upper and elevated earth dimensions and beyond the void of creation. We are the United Futurtarians, bringing forth more intelligence, or more of the omni intel that is further us in our pure state as pure intelligence. Check out that podcast and broadcast on our channel, the United Futurtarians on YouTube. So, yes, today's topic at hand is why God is intelligence. Why God is intel or intelligence, pretty much. So, just to bring it out there or put it out there, yes. One example as to why I feel like, and as the council feels as though God is truly intelligence, or you are a god or a goddess, it's because when it comes to that, I think it's a scripture saying that God, or the saying that I've heard from a lot of Christians over the years, or a lot of religious, yeah, Christians pretty much, they'll say that God knows all, God sees all, and God knows all. So dealing with that, that would be what? Intelligence. For those who've never, put that together, or put one and one together, as they say, two and two together, then that's truly what it is. Since God knows all, God sees all about us, about you, whoever, because this topic is might not be for everybody, because I know people of that I'm subscribed to are probably on spiritual consciousness, Pan-Africanism, and there are some that are still who are of religious or religion dealing with Christianity and so forth, and even all others pretty much. So peace, power, soul, elevated activation. We are the United Futurtarians moving forward into more power as ones, walking with ones, walking with ones. The true 11 in its power state once more. The true 11 in its power state. So yes, just look at everything from a more elevated perspective. So give me 1 second really quickly. Mm, mm, mm. Yes, further moving things forward into more power and more elevation as we further walk together as ones, walking with ones, walking with ones, or leaders walking with leaders, walking with leaders. And that's why when you go back to the scripture in Genesis, also, I would say this. I've heard this breakup from my mentor named Nuben Minkares break that up over at Mentellect, the Republic of Mentellect. But he brought up the aspect of how when you read Genesis and it says in Genesis, um, I think the scripture and our quote says something like, "Let us make man in our image versus my image," because my would deal with the self, deal with individuality versus our versus we. So we're saying we are intelligence. We are gods and goddesses to those who are of the spiritual and conscious frequencies or camps. But we're further saying that we are intelligence, intelligence as gods, moving forward as ones, walking with ones, walking with ones. But we're not using the word gods anymore because we have broken out of that term and title as God, because dealing with intelligence, it doesn't have that label. Intelligence isn't a label. Intel is a Intelligence is a way of life, or it's a, what I want to say, our being. Intel is our all being, or like I said, our omni being, because we're intelligence here. We're intel here, or intel as well as the upper and outer dimensions. So I am Anu Clear Future Ray, leader amongst ones and leaders here as the United Futurtarians, with brother AF1, Futurtarian, as well as brother Cosmo Uni One, Uni Fresh, and brother Sunshift. So yes, we are Futurtarians, and check out our commercials, our podcast and broadcast. Check out brother a new brother Cosmo Uni One, Uni Fresh on Spotify as New Life, NULIFE, hashtag New Life. So we're further being able to connect, network, and broadcast our collective omni frequency all over. So that's further the unity, or the unseen unity, or the unseen evolution that's taking place behind the scene as far as dealing with soul. Everything that is soulfully driven, our actions are soulfully driven. That's why, as intelligence, we understand and megastand that, or we understand, for those who don't quite understand what megastanding or understanding mean. But yes, we don't as far as our understanding, we're not caught up in, like I said, titles anymore, but further breaking up or going to the source of what they have called God, and that's pure intelligence. That's not any no mystical character. That's the God. There's a song that I used to hear. It's the God in me. It's the God in you. And that was a song that they didn't even know they were talking about truly, or they didn't get the actual message that they had basically channeled to create that song. I'm not sure what it was about. I think it's about the whinings. It's the God in me. It's the God in you. It's the God in us. It's the God in we. It's intelligence. But we have to go past the whole storybook characters. That means letting go of the Bible. That means letting go of the Qurans, because this is going to all religious people, for all religions, because it's the same story, but it's just the variants, or as far as just how they have painted the picture or painted the storyline. It might be different as far as how they've painted the picture and storyline, but it's all to say the same thing. Everyone's trying to tap in or be one with so-called God, which truly meaning you're trying to become one with yourself, or becoming one with intelligence, becoming one with intelligence as far as your upper and outer dimensional souls and cells. You having that connection, which is for intelligence. That's as far as intelligence, as far as just being able to further recognize or recognize, being able to connect with the rays, recognize, reconnect, recognize, yeah, recognize our purposes as activated souls and minds, moving forward into more power. So yes, I am Anu Clear Future Ray, leader amongst ones and leaders here as the United Futurtarians. Yes, bringing forth more collective solargy. Yes, further elevating, going higher and higher. At one point, we were at 3,000 feet. Now we're at 4,000 feet as far as the fourth dimension. That's a whole a large gap, or a large evolving state that we had to go through to be able to get into that neutral state of being who we are, being neutral next Nubians, being that neutral collective soul frequency, intel frequency, or just that further momentum, being that momentum that is further the cause for the shift, or the further evolution. Because you have to understand, you have to come to that reality, like, okay, so what's causing the shift? Intelligence. So us having to shift our minds from seeing God as a man, and further not as a woman or a man really, but seeing God as the collective intelligence. That's what it is. So a lot of your so-called preachers are not going to tell you this. Your so-called evangelists, preachers, all of that won't tell you about it, because they're still reading from a book. I don't read books, and I'll tell everybody this. They're like, "You crazy? So how are you able to talk on this if you never read the Bible before?" Well, for one, my parents, shout out to my mom, really had me in, heavily into Bible studies, or Bible school, all of that. I went to a Catholic school where their interpretation of the Bible, their interpretation of God in the Bible are different, as opposed to Baptists or Southern Orthodox Christians, all of that. It's just the confusion just gets heavy depending on which camp you're subscribed to, or the brainwashing, or the illusionary painting of what it simply is pure intelligence. Like, we're evolving, like our names have evolved. I'm not. I would, well, when I'm online, I don't call myself my real name, or I'm not going by my actual name. I'm going by Anu Clear, or by Asoul Raising, or either or. But those are just like us moving forward into more of who we are going to show you all we are, because it's more showing than telling or talking at this point. That's why we're always saying showing intelligence, showing intel. That's what gods do, or goddesses do. They're showing intelligence. They're actually being, um, what you say, out there. They're being necessary for the so-called communities, or being necessary, or being advantageous as far as their help to further uplift the youth, uplift the next generation pretty much after us. So, or after them pretty much. So, peace, power, soul, elevate activation. We are ones, walking with ones, the true 11 in this power state. So, yes, why God is intelligence. So this probably is not going to be for everybody because we've definitely have evolved past um associating with God or being able to call ourselves gods, or if we had women over here, goddesses and whatnot. So we're going above and beyond that term. And as far as going into just being pure intelligence, or being just, at one point we said that we're souls on, souls further evolving or propelling with other souls through gateways and portals, being able to create portals and gateways for other souls to step through, or further intelligence to step through. So it's your intelligence. That's why I said before, when you heard that song, it's the God in me, it's the God in you, it's the God in we. That song was a message to us saying that yes, you are God, because okay, if the saying is that most people who are in the, as far as Christians that I've heard over the years, I said they always say, well, yeah, we're all created in God's image. So that being said, it's the God in you, it's the God in me, it's the intelligence in us. We're pure intelligence at the root of it all. It's pure intelligence at at the root of it all. So peace, power, soul, elevated activation. Yes, I am Anu Clear Future Ray, leader amongst ones and leaders here as the United Futurtarians. Right now, I have brother AF1. If you want to chime in, feel free. I can add you right now, but yes, I'm gonna just touch on some more things really quickly and then just add you. So yes, going back to what I was saying, why the messages of us having to go through so-called the phase of religion, then going to consciousness, then woke, spirituality, all those different levels of our minds leveling up, or our souls and minds having to level up and power up to further receive intelligence. So we had to have those downloads, being of religious affiliations, consciousness, woke, and all those other so-called camps that are in between those. But pretty much it's those as foundations, or those downloads, to further be able to break up and out, breaking out of limitation, because those are all limited. Because simply put, everything must keep moving forward. So dealing with people who are still calling the Anunnaki that name still, they've evolved past that. If they're truly of the future, then they've definitely evolved past that term Anunnaki, or even if they were called that term Anunnaki, like everything must keep going. So going from black people, going from gods to carbon beings, going from black people to carbon beings to golden beings to gods and goddesses to pure intelligence. That's what it further evolves into. So peace, power, soul, elevate, active. I right now. Yes. Whenever you join in, just go ahead. Peace, power, soul, elevate, activation. So I'm going to go ahead and mute the microphone real quick. Go ahead, brother F1.
Oh, got it.
And I was saying I can go ahead and mute my microphone right now.
Peace, power, souls to activated AF1. Fire topic by the brother Asoul, and we're just gonna keep moving forward. And I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna let you hit the topic first. I just chimed in, and then I'll chime in after that.
Okay, so yes, all right. So today's topic is why God is intelligence, and like I said before, talking about the aspect of, you heard the song probably before. It's the God in me, it's the God in you, it's the God. So I said it's the God in we as a collective intelligence. So that's what they were saying that in that song subliminally, but people didn't quite get it because at that time people were still heavily metafied in religion, and either you were a Christian, or either you were, Baptist, either or, it's different, but at the same time, when it came to that particular song that I heard, especially because they called it what, gospel rap or gospel R&B, but you had a lot of that so-called was, I guess, breakthroughs as far as that aspect of the frequencies being able to, certain songs that had messages that people just didn't quite get it. So yes, it is the God in you, it is the God in me, or it's the pure intelligence in all of us when we come together and moving forward past
the limited I would say labels or those different what you say mindsets of religion, spirituality, consciousness, etc. So yes, that's why God is intelligence. We are intelligence, but we're not calling ourselves gods anymore because that's truly the past and the present. We've come to understand it, understand that we're above and beyond the labels that have been put in front of us to be able to download and accept as just that, accept it for what it really is, and not go beyond that because that's the whole limitation in the labels. Labels are what, like I think you broke up there from labels. Sometimes when they have artists who are not basically useful anymore, they don't want to let them go no more. So they want to keep, stringing them along and have them do things they don't want to do instead of letting them go. So letting go to grow as far as how we're going to keep going, keep evolving next now. So go ahead, brother F1. You're one.
Yep, just going on a different narrative, man, because stuff has to change. These old doctrines, they played a factor for their time. They played a factor for this time as far as waking everybody up and getting them on woke stage. That's what that plays a factor for. But you got to always think what's going. The reason why the so-called black race is at the bottom of the barrel when you're dealing with communities is because when you're dealing with the circular mind frame, the hamster wheel, that money don't mean nothing. It's a tool. Money is just a tool. It don't mean nothing. You can have the biggest house, the biggest mansion. That's cool if you got that stuff, man. All power to you. I salute. But when it comes to the mind elevation of the youth, then they have to sit there and deal with that stuff, that some of the stuff that what they did to get that money. A lot of people died over that they didn't see. That their words played a factor to what's going on right now that they're going to have to deal with in their next life. And this is where you get religion, God, devil, going to heaven and to hell and all that stuff, dealing with the other dimension. And you calling yourself something that nobody never called you, that's power. That's power. When you have a name that nobody never came up with, that is power. Now, if you calling it, if I'm not saying uh like you dealing with the Israelites, Islam, all that stuff, like that's what they know. That's what they know, and they can't go past that doctrine that's been given to them, and it's been altered and tweaked. And they'll tell you themselves it's been altered and tweaked. That's the funny part. I had the Israelites approach me. I was downtown St. Paul. I had the Israelites approach me. It was three of them. Three Israelites approached me, and by the time I got done talking with them, one of the brothers that was really running it, because I know they got a chain of command, he was like, "Are you a Mason?" I'm like, "No, I'm not a Mason." I said, but the thing was, like, their minds, I had their minds going past because what I was saying was reality to them, but they still had that paper, they still had that paper in their hand, and that belief system. So that's why what I was saying to them was reality, but they just didn't want to go past it because they have to deal with their peers, which is the other Israelites, and they know that they have to go through the all the commandments and keep all the commandments. I think it's like 606 commandments in the Bible or something like that. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm close though. But what I was telling to them, it was so funny because they were agreeing with it. They were agreeing with what I was saying. And I'm like, if you're agreeing with what I'm saying, why isn't it registering to you? So this is the point that I'm making, because their belief system is always going to have them going back in circles. That's why, just no disrespect to the Israelites or nothing like that, because it's just mind power. Mind power. That's why when you're dealing with the Greco-Roman priest, right, and you're dealing with King James and the Greco-Roman priest, that's why they put Passover in there, because they want you to do it over and over and over and over again. Because what does that keep your mind? It keeps your mind staying at a standstill. It's not going past the commandments. I'm using that as an example as far as mind power goes. That's why when people say inventions, when people invent something, they're trying to come with something that nobody's never thought of before in this dimension. They haven't received it from the upper dimensions yet, because we're in the third dimension. So everything that you receive that's next is pulling from somewhere, but you have to clean your mind, your vessel, your whole body out to receive that stuff. You can't have that old stuff in your mind because that's why you're not receiving nothing next, is because you got all this old stuff in your mind that you've been taught by the ancestors. The ancestors didn't know no better. The internet wasn't out yet. They didn't know no better. That's just what they knew. That's just what they knew. They knew that, okay, I got this book, I got these books, I got the library where the lie's been buried. And that right there be tripping me out, man. I'm like, it's called the library. They put this stuff right in people's face. They're telling you this is where the lie's been buried. In that, oh, there's truth in the library too. Don't get me wrong. But while you digging for truth, your mind gets distorted with the lies also. So now you're downloading, you're not uploading, you're downloading everything in the library. So now you got to deal with the dualistic 3D realm with lies and truth. So yeah, brother, I saw you could break something down off that.
Okay, wonderful breakup of the AF1. Yes, why God is intelligence is dealing with the aspect of moving past the title of God, or in so many words. Yes, like I said, there's been so many relations to you and I and all of us being of pure intelligence, and dealing with the qualities of these advanced souls, and as well as our advanced minds, being able to think a lot faster, or being able to process faster than a lot of people here on this planet. But us, with our inventions, people talk about the pyramids, but that was pure intelligence. There was no so-called gods, or I mean, well, dealing with that aspect, I guess there was influence by the upper and outer dimensional intelligence. But like I said, like that, the whole term God is so old and ancient. It's like going back to like it's very ancient using that word title God, because y'all can't go past that, because the high, I guess, the pinnacle of most people who are still in religion, or like I said, of the Hebrew Israelite camps, or those who are still associating God as like the end all be all. But it's not, because pure intelligence goes above and beyond the stories that, because in so many words, God was basically meant to break down intelligence so that it could be understood by people who are on a lower frequency and vibration. So when it comes to pure intelligence, being the omni is all. So that's why they, like I was saying before, they were talking about how God so-called knows everything and sees everything. So that's pure intelligence. Okay, not consciousness, none of that. It's pure intel. Pure intel is what holds everything together as far as our galaxy. I mean, everything that we have been beginning to discover, and not talking about science, but just what we've been able to see as a collective, or just outside of what's been given to us to download. So not downloading, but actually being able to receive, and further being able to process in our own analyzing, or our own scanning of what's taking place, not what people have been saying for over the last, I don't know, 65. It's so long, man. Just like it hasn't gotten us nowhere. So us being able to align with intelligence, it doesn't cause confusion, because when people say God here in America, someone in Asia, God is different from the so-called God that people are able to associate here in America. But or just in general, like everyone who uses the term God, or when they're saying God, they're further saying the same thing, but there's so many different paintings, or different illusions of what God is. It's like that causes confusion. That's why you might have what's so-called religion, like I guess wars, with people who are like religion, talking about, oh, my God is better than your God. All that, it doesn't matter, because that causes division. When it comes to pure intelligence, it doesn't basically privy on who's better, or who's greater, or whatnot. So dealing with insight, it doesn't say, okay, it doesn't have the masculine and feminine energy. It just shows the collective of the balance of both feminine and masculine energies. So that's why people try to divide the term intelligence, or and give it the term God, but it doesn't really fit when it comes to us moving forward. We're pure intelligence. We're pure intel that will keep on, to say, writing, or say, illuminating the world, or all space and places that we go into. So that's why we're
You're
pure.
right. You're right. You're right. So just look at why people can't open up schools. They can't. Um, I forgot that, brother. Dr. Umar Johnson been trying to open up the school and teach that doctrine, man. The reason why, if it's legit, if it's a scam, it don't matter. The reason why is because when you're dealing with teaching the children, even if it's dealing with just African history, even it's just dealing on that aspect, because that's not the norm that's supposed to be in the schools. And people be wondering why these schools ain't open up, these independent so-called black schools are not opening up is because it's not, there's the only way you can change this stuff is with power. That's it. That's the only way you can change the narrative is with power. You can't change it with money. Money's been around us for years, for shit, centuries, really. Shit, millennium. I mean, not millenniums. Dealing with thousands of years, money been around us after Egypt fell. After Egypt fell, the Olmecs, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Mayas, after they all fell, there was a couple of brothers, a couple of little organizations that ended up getting money. It's never been about money. That's what we're trying to push to the people that's out here that's watching these videos, man. It's all about mind, moving forward, cleansing your mind, cleansing your soul, and making yourself a hollow vessel for the right intel to be streamed to your head. Because when you start mixing stuff up, if you're not activated, you can't just, I mean, you could do whatever you want, but it's not going to be nothing to alter and shift a paradigm. And this is what we're trying to get to you guys. Like, it's never been about that. It's about coming together, cleansing your mind, cleansing your soul, cleansing your body, and then coming on one accord, because everything goes back to the one. When they said the Big Bang Theory, they didn't say it was multiple bangs. They said it was one bang. And that's a theory, but they're still telling you it's still about the ones. That's why we represent the one, because that's a critical number. That number, you notice the thing about the one is not manipulated. It's not bend, doesn't go like this, doesn't go like that, doesn't go like this. It's just straight because it's not being manipulated. Go ahead, also.
Like you were saying, like one is not manipulated, so like it's standing, or like we're always saying, we're always omni standing, or we're all standing for the future and nothing less that is
Right.
say counteract walk into the future.
Right. And we're all standing as one. We're standing as one individual linking up with other ones that's individuals. People don't see. That's what I think. The thing about the cyberverse and the internet, you got teachers out here and people just on the internet talking about some, I'll never join an organization. We're not an organization. We call ourselves the council because we know the power of the council. We've been through this before. This is not our first rodeo. We've been through this before. That's why people say, oh, I'm never joining an organization, this and that, because you're not that far in the future. You might be in the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, but you're in all the other dimensions, but you're not mentally connected to all your future selves in those dimensions. That's why this stuff doesn't register to you. Go ahead, Asoul.
You're right. They haven't made that connection, or they haven't made that elevated, or what they would call an extended alignment to who they truly are as an omni being. Go ahead.
And just going through the omniverse, right? Going through this universe, which is 13 dimensions going on 14 dimensions, and then you got the other universes, which is the multiverses and all that stuff going into the other dimensions and this and that. But I'm talking about the universe that we're in right now, the realm that we're in right now, right? That's why they tell you the planet is 13 billion years old. That's why I say 13 dimensions, because each dimension, a billion years equals one dimension, right? Billion years, what happened, right? You had, I'm trying to break it down right, like this one teacher had broke it down, and I'm trying to break it down like he broke it down. The one dimension, the first billion years when the earth was being created was dealing with
Forming of the planet, like
th- was dealing with things. What I mean by things like
matter.
dark matter, gases, electrodes, electrons, protons, neutrons. It was dealing with things, right? And then the second dimension was dealing with places, because then what happened? Planets started to form. Then you had places to go, right? Then the last was the people. Then the people came, our ancestors, which really is our ascendants. They call them the ancestors, but they came from the future, so they really are ascendants. And see, that's the whole thing. That's why when you're dealing with these doctrines and you're dealing with the library and all this stuff, they always flip everything backwards. Y'all know this stuff if y'all been on the internet, and everybody's talking about, oh, they flipped the English language is backwards, this is backwards. Well, the ancestors and the ascendants is backwards also. You think that ain't backwards? Because when they came here, they came from the future. That's why I said that's why I said the 200 that came here first, the 200 they will be the last ones to leave. This is dealing with time, and this is dealing with portal travel, dimensions, all that stuff, because that they came back in the past. The reason why they came back in the past is because you have to control the past so you can stay in power in the future. And when we talk to y'all like this, it's like, to some people, like if I was talking to a professor at a college, he would probably get it, what we're saying. Like a professor that been teaching for like 20, 30 years, he will get what we're saying. The 200s that came down here from the future will be leaving in the future. It's just that simple. That's why everything that we deal with some next topics, stuff that ain't on Google, Siri, and Alexa, stuff that you haven't heard from another teacher, another scholar, nothing like that, because we understand that when you're dealing with, I always use the example as with inventions, because it wasn't no phone out, wasn't no phone out. Who thought of the phone? Who thought of the internet? Who thought of airplanes? Who thought of lasers? Who thought of all this stuff? Where is this stuff coming from? Everybody's thinking on a physical realm, thinking that some aliens is supposed to come down. When if you made everything in the universe, why would you send some physical stuff back when all you got to do is send the souls and send the transmission? The ones that's worthy of receiving it. That's why they say that separates the chosen from the regulars. And that's what we're trying to get in everybody's head. And a lot of people's not going to get it. The ones that's supposed to get it, they're going to get it because they're up there in the future. They're in higher dimensions. And those are the ones that's going to be attracted to it because it's the law of attraction. So I just had to break that down. Also, you go ahead, brother.
Yep, it's the law of attraction, or solargy, or like that. Our magnetic alignment, pretty much, as far as to the the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is further the evolution, or the soul solution, as far as the soul evolution, going from I guess our physical state, focusing on like our physical state, dealing with the third dimension, and then going into that soulful state, or going into that elevated state, going past the soul and going into pure intelligence, because going into pure intelligence is further what has gotten us to being able to talk about topics like this, and further bring a diverse breakup, or a multi-layered breakup of what it took to get to further being activated, and further talking about intelligence. That's why yes, everyone that is still on that God frequency, they have not been able to break past those lower dimensions of the maybe the fourth and fifth dimension, probably. But like I said, they have not been able to connect with the all state, or that the omni projection, as far as power and as far as intel that's coming down to the planet. And for those who are able to be open to receive intelligence, it's only going to show as time goes forward. Those who are still stagnatory, or those who are further activationists, or activated by way of, again, us being able to align with, for one, our upper and outer dimensional souls themselves, or answering that phone call, because the frequencies keep on those ringing noises in our ears. Like I said, like I equated it to being like a phone call. People have been pressing reject on their phone for so long. They have not been able to align with the upper outer dimensional souls themselves. That's why there has been that gap, or the constant looping, and then wondering why they cannot go further. Is because you have not answered the phone call, answered that call to God, aka yourself. Because it's that simple, pretty much. People want to sit up here and want to mystify what God is, but it's purely intel. It's intel over everything. They would say it's God over everything, but it's intel over everything. Go ahead with the F1.
Yes, intelligence over everything, because but it was so funny you had said that, because my ears just rang probably 2 days ago for a long time. I was sitting here like I just had to go on mute. I had to put that 11 on, man, and go on mute. And I just sat there for a minute, and it was about probably maybe like 45 seconds long. I was like, and that's frequencies, and dealing with, a lot of unseen stuff that people really, you have to go through certain things in your life to really know that this stuff is the unseen is a reality thing. It's not because people think it's because they can't see it, they can't hear it. Like, you can see air though, that air's there. You can breathe air though, that air is there. What's that one gas? What, carbon I can't even say that word.
Oxygen, carbon.
Yeah, 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 you can't see that either. Why do you think they got the? Why do you think they got that hooked up to the to the fire detector right now?
Yeah, but you can smell it. I mean, you can and then die possibly, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and you can't see it, man. The unseen's real. That's real because there's stuff down here letting us know it's real. You think your future self is gonna pop up, you know, from the future and pop up in your living room and be like, hey man, you know you from the future. You know this is my old self. You know I've been through this before. This is the most stuff. They ain't gonna do that stuff, man, because when you're dealing with radiation and antennas and frequencies and what that's why the pure example is cell phones, radios, communication, right? Because when you're dealing with this third dimensional realm that we live in, when you're dealing with this third dimensional realm that we live in, we still dealing with free will. Because you have the free will to go stay woke for the rest of your life, stay conscious for the rest of your life. That's fine, whatever floats your boat, but there's always something.
Frequency is free will in so many words
Yeah,
because by the
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why when we say the chosen, we're talking about frequencies, receiving, all that stuff. Going through our children, man, they're gonna be so super activated, man. They're gonna be going through because it's gonna take activation to get through war. It's gonna take activation to get through famine. It's gonna take activation to make a move quicker than anybody else. It's not about guns. It's never been about guns and money. It's going to be decisions that the children and our people going to have to make to keep stuff moving forward that has nothing to do with that. Now they're going to play a factor in the future, but who's going to be? It's just like I'm gonna use an example that one emperor Genghis Khan, right? Genghis Khan, right? He was doing all type of stuff for war. He was like one step ahead of his enemies, doing this and doing that, right? That's going to be the activated ones because their minds are going to be moving faster than the norm. They're going to be moving faster than the speed of light. They're going to pass the all nines and they're going to go to the one and a whole bunch of trillion zeros. They're going to pass all the nines up. That's why they keep stressing the nines, the 666, the 999, and all that stuff. And they always steer you away from that one. Because once their minds start moving at the speed of light, your mind doesn't move at the speed of light. It moves a little bit slower than the speed of light. The speed of light, that code has been locked within this prism that we live in because people are not worthy to think at the speed of light. People are not worthy to travel at the speed of light. Shoot, all these governments on the planet can't move, can't even go to speed of light. They can't even shoot a neutron through a particle accelerator to speed of light. They locked on all nines, but you can't go to speed of light because it's locked. And that gets under their skin every day as them scientists go to sleep and they wake up, they still can't figure out how to hit that one with them trillion, quadrillion, billion zeros. That gets under their skin every day. Just trying to figure that out because that code's been locked. You can't figure it out. It's not going to happen, man. Some of these scientists be trying to figure out that code and already died already. Trying to figure out that one code. Peace, power, and soul. You can go ahead, Aso.
wonderful breakup, our brother AF1. Check him out on his YouTube channel, Futurtarian's Activation channel, as well as on here on Facebook, AF1 Futurtarian. So check him out live every Thursdays on his Facebook account, YouTube channel, on his Facebook, going live 8:30 CST. So whenever he does his next live, will probably share it to you all as well, like a day before, 2 days beforehand. So yeah, peace, power, soul, elevate activation to us. We are ones, walking with ones, walking with ones. So yes, just going with today's topic, why God is intelligence, because coming out of a lower state of thinking or that lower frequency and vibration, it makes sense for them to have something like that to further bring forth balance, somewhat balanced throughout the planet. Because dealing with, I talked about before, there was commandments. So those commandments were meant to further control and bring forth some kind of structure on the planet. So it wasn't for us to abide by those commandments, but we already had our own laws that we further followed outside of those commandments. So those commandments were only meant for what the people of the created, but didn't know what the logical structure and order was from the upper and outer dimensions. So you had to have an artificial version called the Ten Commandments, which they give to you in religion pretty much. So that's why I could make that make sense, because it makes sense to me. But moving forward to more power, we're only saying this because we saying that at this point, if you're still calling yourself, still seeing God for what God really is, and it's okay because sooner or later, you know, you're going to get a vision, or it's going to dawn upon you like that rays, like the rays every morning, like dawn. Every time that you see the rays coming, it's going to hit you, and it'll make sense. Because at the same time, we're not saying that you have to believe what we're saying or believe anything that's coming out of our mouth. But what we're saying is, think about it. God knows all, sees all. I mean, that certain person says it right there. Seeing all and knowing all. We don't know everything, but we further, obviously, been able to project ourselves in the upper and outer dimensions, but further being able to, see what's up there has further given us um, intelligence outside of knowledge, outside of the books, the libraries, again, history. Why isn't it our story? Or moving forward, it's all about the future of what we can do to, keep the momentum going as far as just our powering up and leveling up into more intel. That's why it's intel over everything, because intel is what's going to keep on fueling us, and not the books, not belief systems, but the intel. What we further are able to unlock and break up as a collective council, or just as these new beings in general. Being a being is being
Yeah, the new dreams. Yeah.
purposeful. So go ahead, brother AF1.
Go back and look at when the Europe. I mean, when Egypt, Olmecs, everybody fell, right? Moors, they fell too. Like they all fell, right? The reason why they fell is because what the Europeans did was they started receiving intelligence. They started receiving intelligence. That's what happened, man. That's the real reality of stuff, man. They was counteracting and counteracting and counteracting through war. They was being more intelligent when it came to a conflict. That's just facts, right? They they had to like even our people, you could talk stuff about the Europeans, you could talk stuff about the white people, but without them, this planet will be chaos right now. That's facts. Because they used intelligence. They didn't use God. They didn't use religion. They used intelligence. They used whatever they had
On the
to
slow focus, they used God on the people that were slow, and they further used
right,
do what they
right. And they used that. They used that to conquer. But while they were receiving, they were using intelligence. That's why they could counteract all the war shit, all the war stuff, man. They could counteract it. Go to war with Africa, go to war with a country in Africa. They didn't gather so much recon down there. It was ridiculous. You know what I mean? They was using this instead of their ego and their heart. Because when you put the heart before the mind, then that's when stuff starts to fall. I've been there. I've done it in my life. I know what I'm talking about. You have to put the mind first. There's this old cat. He was on the internet a long time ago, and he kind of looked at like he was like an old crackhead or something like that. But he had made a real decent comment, man. Because you never know what's in people's heads until you talk to them. Even a homeless guy, you could talk to a homeless guy and get some real good insight from them. He said, "You know what's wrong with people?" I said, "What?" They said, "They don't do as you say." They said, "No." He said, He said, "No." He told me what you tell people. He said, "You know what you tell people?" I said, "What?" He said, "Tell them don't do as I do as I say." As long as you're saying the right thing, that's the whole point he was making. And see, that's the thing with just dealing with the copper coated beings on the planet,
see
man. It's
over the message. They see the physical over what's coming. The volume is coming out, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, right. The frequency and everything that's pulling up through the atmosphere and everything that's coming through under the sun that's underneath the earth, the sun that's coming out the earth, the portals, the radiation that's beaming, because radiation evolves stuff into bigger things. I'm gonna give y'all an example. I heard one teacher on the internet, um, she was talking about how you're supposed to put plastic on you because you don't want your frequency to get distorted. And the whole point is when you look at Hiroshima, when that bomb got dropped in Hiroshima, and then look at all the animals that was on the outskirts that received a little bit of that radiation, they all evolved into something greater. Like look at the Japanese giant hornet, right? That hornet like this big, man. Before that bomb dropped, They were this big, right? That bomb dropped. Now they like this. Now they over here in the Americas, over allegedly out in Washington, not D.C. but the state. Because they didn't evolve. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff over there too. That's where you get that movie Godzilla, when they show you the big, when Japan show you the big lizard. They were showing you that in the movies. They show you in the movies, but they don't tell you exactly what's going on. They were telling you like there's species over here evolving from the radiation that survive, and they're getting bigger and they're getting smarter. So how's radi? So how is? Go ahead, also.
I was saying basically all subliminals, because even the people over there, not all of them died from radiation. They somehow managed to
Yeah,
adapt.
but look, no, but look at Japan. You go to Japan, it's gonna be like you left the planet. All
That's
that technology over there,
and that's what
all that technology.
that's what I was saying, because everything over there adapted the people further, like their minds. Like I said, not all of them died because like the physical effect of like the radiation poison and whatnot, but further their souls and minds, or their spirits and minds, further was able to like adapt to like a whole other level, pretty much.
There was able to absorb that radiation and take it and use it. And they used it, and look at that, look at what they're doing right now over there, man. They got so much technology over there, man. Like you go to Japan, man. You go to the main city, man. I swear you think you left the damn planet. You'd be like, what is this, utopia? The hell's going on over here? Like, you go to a restaurant, man. They ain't even no waiters, man. They got robots and stuff. You know what I mean? You go into a parking lot, man, and the whole damn parking lot's moving.
You can
Just
get
bring your car to you.
a vending machine. You can get a actual full course meal out of a vending machine. One person.
Yeah, out of the damn vending machine, man. That's what radiation does in the long run. Radiation evolves in the long run, right? That's why I ain't even finna go into that. I'm not finna go into five jizzle and all that shit. But anyway, yeah, but that's because when you're dealing with Japan, that's facts. That's documented facts that happened. So yeah, we just use that as an example, man, just to let y'all know, man. Just like radiation ain't all bad. It's not, the radiation is not all bad. If you get a little bit of it, look at what
But
do they cure?
in
What
the future, when you know that you're alive in the future, then radiation is not going to be something that you really.
Well, what do they kill breast cancer with?
Radiation, the same thing that they try to use it is the same thing that they try to get you with anyway. It's
Right,
oh now what?
right. So it's and everything. It's so funny because everything be in your face, man. You just be
Right in your face. The songs,
like,
every
what the hell?
subliminal, all of that.
Yeah, the subliminals, man, just be in your face. But yeah, man, that's the thing about going past God, because God is always going to be intelligence, man. It's always going to be what's next, because that's what's going to move you. If you really care about your children, if you really care about your children's children, if you really care about your children's children's children, and your children's children's children, then it's us all. Intelligence is the only thing that's going to survive, man. The ones that's going to leave this planet and open up portals is going to be the ones that's at top of intelligence. Peace, power, and soul.
Peace, power, and soul, elevate activation, wonderful breakup of the AF1. And yes, and the one at the top of the mind chain, or those ones who further break out of the earth dimension, are going to be the ones who further are going to call up those other ones who are going to be a part of the future. So it's just that continuous alignment to just more transforming and transferring of power, and just us being souls as we can see ourselves now. But then as we go higher and higher, it just becomes more elemental and just more pure intelligence. So in 13D, we're not going to be obviously of the flesh or physical. I mean, of this nature, pretty much how we see ourselves now. So it's just more of like how you said before, like hollow. Like we're going to be not really like how they see us, like less physical, but more of like a more as vibration, more as power, and more of that unseen nature, pretty much, or that unseen factor. So peace, power, soul, elevate activation. We are one. Why God is intelligence, because it is what it is. So many signs have pointed to that. Like, hey, yes, you are. If you can create children the same way that the so-called, like I said, if we can create children, we're further cloning ourselves or doing what? Creating more. That shows you what right there. That's power. The same way the so-called God was able to create humans or create people, is the same way they were able to create ourselves over and over again. Or that mirroring of ourselves in the upper dimension shows that we have more power than people think that we do, because that shows that we can create, we can further be creators like so-called God is, right? I mean, right? I mean, come on, creating and further being, you know, what I want to say creationists, or our own illustrators to our own stories, pretty much, or our own experiences,
But
pretty much.
what it say in the Bible? God made you in His own image.
Yes, in his image. So that means that you are. But then they'll say this, yes, we're so-called many gods. No, no, it's either you see it as a whole thing or not. You can't have no, it's you see the unity as yourself being pure intelligence, or like I said, it's unity in us not having that labels, because label is what confuses things. Having to, this is this, this is that, but we're further saying that we're all the same. They would say, "Oh, God is woman." That causes confusion, right? But we're all, if we're all gods and goddesses, isn't it the we? Isn't it the omni? Right? I just don't understand it. That's just kind of mind-boggling, because y'all want to say that God's woman though, but when you go into upper outer dimensions, you can't have feminine energy without masculine energy. So that coming together, that fusing of those two energies makes the one, makes unity. That makes the whole omni. Go ahead, brother Edwin.
Hey, what's the thing? What do you? Okay, I'm gonna use this. This just hit me right. So if okay, whatever you believe in, if you believe that you die and you go to something better, or you die and you go to heaven, or you die, what do you think that is? That's the future.
Future, the uh, the future beyond this point right now. Go ahead.
If you go into something better, if you go into something better, right? And is heaven in the past?
Right?
Is
Is
heaven in the present?
is heaven slavery, being enslaved? Always wondering why you
Right,
top? No, it's not.
right. Is heaven in the past, or is heaven in the present, or is heaven in the future? People that already been through this stuff, that already know how to that's up there creating things.
And
A
ooh,
group of people that's under one creator. A group of people under the creation. The one. So if you're gonna call yourself a god, then like Brother Asoul said, show and tell. Let me know. Tell me something. Tell me something that ain't on Google, Siri, Alexa, Webster Dictionary, doctrines, Bible, Quran, Buddhism, libraries, documentaries that I don't that we both don't know, that you can say that makes sense to me. That's a God.
that
Peace, power, and soul.
essence, peace, power, soul, because that just shows will show you that a lot of people are talking about being gods and goddesses, and those who are of like the consciousness and being woke and whatnot, and then the whole spirituality movements and whatnot. But like I said, that they still run into that wall, because they can't truly unlock, or they can't truly embody or be what it means to be pure intelligence, or what God is, because you can't sit up here and try to live a lifestyle that's like, you can't have your foot inside the lower dimensions, or focusing on worldly things, and then try to be a so-called, elevated, personified being on this and that. But you're still, your mind is shit. Your soul is shit. Everything about you is still of that. It's sick. Come on now, like, let's call it how we all see it. How we gonna move things forward when people are still focusing on black and white? Kanye West talking about, oh, white lives matter. Y'all are pitiful. And Mr. Council's talking to you right now, because this is real shit. Like, how we gonna move things forward? How are we fueling the minds of the next generation, focusing on the worldly things, thinking that money gonna move things forward, thinking about celebrity status is gonna move things forward. Man, God damn, let me end this right now. Peace, power, soul. We are one.
Hey, all right, peace, man. Oh shit.